Hey, what's up, crew? Hope all is well. It's your boy Serrano. Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at, quite possibly, debatably speaking, one of the best foldable devices that was ever released on the market. And so one of the reasons why the Google Pixel Fold actually stood out but actually didn't try to fit in was because Google actually innovated and made something different compared to everything that was being released on the market. And so one of the things that was highly receptive to was the outer external 5.8-inch display, which actually made it easy to work with. And so another thing that made people get extremely excited about this device is because during the release of this device, it was actually super expensive, over $2,000. But over the last few years, the price point has been substantially dropped. It's making it a device that everyone can get their hands on. Another reason to get excited over the Google Pixel Fold was the fact that Google had announced 2 more years of OS update support, so people actually started gravitating toward this device more with the addition to the OS updates and the price drop. It allowed more people to actually get excited over this thing because they could actually afford a foldable for the first time. Another thing that people touted highly when it came to the Google Pixel Fold was the portrait landscape when you opened it. So it felt more like a book style foldable versus like a magazine or a pamphlet. And so yeah, that book style form factor gave it that feel where you were opening like a notebook or basically some type of square shaped device, which was almost similar to a passport form factor when closed. And so yeah, the dimensions and overall design made it stand out aesthetically, especially because both displays were equally as large. And so yeah, Microsoft did start the whole crave over the wider form factor. Now Apple and Samsung want to do it. Even Motorola tried to dabble with it a little bit, but companies like Oppo with the Find N and the N2 and the Honor Magic VS also made some extremely beautiful passport wide fold style designs as well. So earlier on, when foldables were being released, they were coming out with more narrow and more taller displays as well. But even OnePlus released the OnePlus Open, which directly competes with the Pixel Fold, which is probably one of the reasons why they changed their form factor to kind of settle in with whatever everyone else was doing at that time. And so one of the things that Google kind of earlier on figured out was that wider, more usable inner display format, where it's a little bit, more of a landscape form factor versus more of a vertical form factor, kind of hit different. And, you could get a better viewing experience, especially when watching videos, playing games on your device as well, because it was more wide, allowing you more of that internal space versus the experience of a skinnier, more narrow form factor. And so it's been going viral over the internet that Samsung's creating a wide fold, which indicates that they're working on a similar model to the original Pixel Fold to directly compete with the inner screen ratio and kind of match what Google had did earlier on. The sad parts of the story was that Google changed what they had did with the original Pixel Fold and kind of shifted to more what Samsung was doing and other devices were doing internationally. And so I think they had something special when it came to this form factor. It was just very easy to grip in the hand. It was a small form factor, but also the outer display was actually not as tall, so you could get your thumb to reach from the top portion to the bottom. Then when you slid it open, and it gave you this like more of like a keypad foldable kind of laptop feel when you were typing on it. So it just gave you a very enjoyable experience to work with, different from what Samsung had to offer. And so yeah, I'm kind of sad that Google, the last 2 iterations of their foldable devices didn't actually follow up with this more. And so yeah, when you compare the specs to modern day times, they do hold up well. You're getting a 5.8-inch cover display, which is really fun to type with, especially when you're using it in one hand outdoors or indoors or whatever. It just feels really good to type on that outer panel and use it with anything you're doing, social media, browsing the web, just catching up on emails. It's a really good one-handed device. But then when you fold it open, you're getting that 7.6-inch inner fold-in OLED screen, which is actually really nice to actually mess around with because it's that wider form factor that I was talking about. And then when it's closed, it actually looks like the shape of a passport with a little bit more height to it. But yeah, very similar dimensions when you compare them side by side. They also do feature the IPX8 water resistance, 30 watts fast charging, wireless charging, as well as a Gorilla Glass Victus, which is also going to give you some sturdy, scratch resistant display materials. You also have a strong hinge on here, which I didn't have any problems with, and it actually folds and opens just the same way as when I originally got it. And then you're also getting Android 16 running on here, which the main focus of this device is multitasking, so that you could use two apps side by side when you're actually working or just doing anything in personal use, when you're doing something for a business use, or just pleasure, leisure, and more fun activities as well. So yeah, after 2 years, this has held up really well. That OLED panel looks really good in outdoor environments. You're getting 2092 times 1080. You're also getting a 120 hertz refresh rate on the inner and outer display. The inner display looks absolutely gorgeous as well, with the 120 hertz on there, with the ultra thin glass material. They have the Google Tensor G2 running the show, which when I'm taking photos in outdoor situations for too long of a period of time, I did notice that I'll get a warning message on the phone telling me that the overall device is getting too hot, and to let it cool off before continuing use. So yeah, that is one of the negatives about the G2 processing chip, because it will overheat when you're taking photos, especially if you're doing recordings in 4K, or even outdoor shots in 1080-60. Yeah, that did come up a few times. But I could see why in 2026 a lot of people would still want to get this device. I mean, it has those dual displays. It also does have pretty decent amount of storage. You get the 3.1 UFS storage on here, or you could get the 512 or 256 gigabyte model. The battery life on here is about a 48-21 million per hour typical battery life, so I'm able to get about 6.5 hours of screen on time most of the time. And so yeah, it's gonna last pretty much all day long when it comes to the performance. So the battery degradation has been really solid. There hasn't experienced too much battery fatigue on here through the duration I've been using it. And so I'm definitely happy that Google actually extended the OS support on this device, because now it means that people can hold on to it a little bit longer. So as far as this phone, you could easily pick it up and use it in 2026, because back when it was designed, built, and made in 2023, they did give it some features that are still being used now. So they gave it the Wi-Fi 6E, the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. They also gave it 5G as well, but this thing will also have a telephoto lens, so you could take really good photography on it as well. It's not going to be the best camera in the entire world, but the cameras are very good. It also does give you wireless charging, which is going to be nice. The peak brightness is 1450 nits peak brightness outdoors, so very nice when it comes to looking at outdoors. You won't have any issues whatsoever with the OLED technology built into the display. 408 pixels per inch on the secondary display, which is actually phenomenal when it comes to looking at content and browsing social media. The colors are rich, bright, and easier to look at, especially in outdoor environments. However, there is a glossy display, so yeah, you might see some reflections on there. But yeah, the cameras hold up really well. You get 3 lenses on this thing, which all shoot very good when it comes to photography. And so yeah, you would also experience laser autofocus when you're taking you know, portraits. You can definitely take portrait mode. Night photography, astro photography is going to be on here as well. You also do get technology to connect it to the Google Cast or the MIMO. So yeah, NFC as well. So like I said, yeah, this device will hold up really well when it comes to the cameras, the build quality, the performance. And even if you just wanted to pick it up for gaming, this is going to be like a good you know, phone to use, like a Nintendo DS or any of the newer games like Xbox game streaming. I do use this with my handheld game controller, so I'm able to stream and play games on here, and it just works really well. But also the cameras are recordable up to 4K 60 front and rear, which is solid. And so as long as it's not too hot in the environment that you're shooting in, you could definitely get some really good quality on here, because if it's too hot, you will get a message on the phone that says that you would have to wait till it cools off before you can actually start using it again. So yeah, the cameras will give you up to 20 times zoom when you're taking photography as well as video, so you can really zoom in with the telephoto lens to capture whatever you're looking at. And so yeah, I definitely think that it also has a lot of features to mess around with: 4K 30, 4K 60, 1080 60, 1080 30, and then you could also turn on some of the you know, video stabilization modes, which are available, like active, which make it very stable, standard, or even locked, so that you could just basically lock in the settings in while you're shooting. And so there's various different modes on here to customize it. You could even customize the exposure or the white balance, or even the speech enhancement, which works pretty good. And another thing that I really like about Pixel devices is that they give you the feature which allows you to use your Bluetooth headphones to capture audio, which is actually pretty cool. But I really like the versatility of this device: watching social media, browsing the web, listening to music, putting it in tabletop mode, gaming, using it as an e-reader. It's just very versatile when it comes to everything that I'm doing. It also does have eSIM support. You can unlock it. I was able to unlock it by calling 611 on T-Mobile, and they did it within a matter of minutes. But let me know what you guys think of the Google Pixel Fold Original in the comment section. And if you're still here, just type down below. I'm still here, so I know you're still kicking it with me. And I just want to remind you to hit the like button so we can get this video out to more people and help beat the YouTube algorithm. And do me a solid, hit that new hype button so we can get this out to a wider audience. Namaste.